Hi guys, I've just seen a post come up saying that somebody had, I wanted to lean on this table. Somebody had a presentation coming up. They'd already said yes, and there was lots of people giving lots of great advice. So if this is you and you've been asked to speak and you've already committed, you're doing it, and now the deadline is coming up, maybe it's today and maybe it's in a week's time, what do? People are going to give you advice. The best thing to remember first is there's two different types of presentation. One is a prepared speech and the other is unprepared. Okay, so in a prepared speech, you will have thought beforehand what your whole presentation is going to be. They have probably said to you a particular time that you've got to speak, so you need to rehearse it, you need to practice it, and you need to be aware of how long it's going to take you. In the unprepared one, you probably need some ideas about what you're going to say, but you don't need to rehearse it, and you don't need to be word perfect. Okay, and what happens with these types of speeches is that you will find that you naturally prefer one or the other. Well, at the moment, if you've already committed to one or the other, then that's fine. But I wanted to say to you, they both come with different expectations. I prefer the unprepared. One, I don't like preparing. I don't like doing homework. But also, this is going to sound awful, but I like the slightly lower expectations that come with the unprepared speech. So people know that I'm going to be thinking on my feet. People know that I might need to take a moment to catch my thoughts. People know that I may go off track and need help coming back. So for example, I may say to the room, if they ask me a question then I can't remember what I was talking about, I could say to the room, oh, what was I saying? And then it kind of seems a bit like a tactic to get the audience involved and they could remind you. But sometimes it really is genuine in that I do struggle with short-term memory. Short-term memory makes it sound terrible. Working memory. Oh dear me, this video. But anyway, if you have a presentation, you will see in my other in other videos that I do, I don't like editing out mistakes because I want you to see that this is how somebody speaks normally. This is somebody like me who's done a lot of speaking. I still make mistakes, and then it's about how you recover from that. So, for example, this person has said, I'm doing a presentation, it's coming up, can you give me some advice? My first thing would be, is it a prepared speech or an unprepared? I believe it's unprepared, but I'm not 100% sure. If it's prepared, you need to follow the standard advice. You can type in public speaking preparation, and that's about controlling your nerves, it's about breathing, that's about, ideally you should be able to practice beforehand depending on how big an audience it's going to be. And one of the things I would say, if it's quite a formal presentation, remember that you can ask to be introduced or give an introduction to that person who's introducing you, so you don't have to stand there and say, I'm Joanne Whitlock and I've got this experience and that experience. Somebody else could do that for you, and that will make you feel a lot lighter in the way that you're getting started, because you can feel quite self-conscious if you're saying your name and other things that you've done. And there's lots of tips about starting with a question and things like that, but I think there's a lot of help for that. The unprepared speak, where you've been invited to speak, you're supposed to say a few words and then you're also supposed to engage with the audience and have questions. That can feel scarier. So I know for me, it can feel, do I have too much material, too much to say, or too little to say? So the timing becomes something that adds an extra stress on things. So one of the things you can do is say, I'm going to be talking about this topic. There's, 5 different areas. So there's 5 things that you can talk about. I've only got time for 2. Which ones would you like? let's start with this one, and you get to or you choose the first one, and then they choose the second one, and you just say, I've got to come back another day to talk to you about the other things. But it gives you some leeway and some flexibility that you could do a little bit of a bonus snippet about these extra things if you suddenly find that you've got lots of time. Because what you want to do is take the pressure off yourself about the timing element. And one of the things that people do is that they may, if they have 5 points, they will tell everybody in the beginning, in their introduction, I have 5 points. These are going to be my 5 points, and then they work through them. So when they're going through them and they run out of time, they're then going back on a promise, in a way, of what they've said they're going to do. So for me, don't promise your 5 points. Say, there are 5. We're only covering these 2 unless we get a little bonus at the end, depending on how the questions go. This is the one I think is most important, and the second one you get to choose. Okay, so then you could be involving them. I say, depends who you're talking to. I'm thinking about this particular person that I've seen make a comment, and she's going into a school, so that's probably why I had my kind of teacher voice on there. But as I say, is it a prepared speech? There's lots of advice for. Is it unprepared? You do still have to relax and do different things, but you're going to find that people are interacting with you anyway. And the whole point about the unprepared speech is that you lead the conversation, but then you let them respond as well, and then it's trusting that they will respond. I can't go into more because then I'll give away who this person is and what they were talking about, and I don't want to reveal her particular situation, any more about her particular situation, other than, for everybody who suddenly finds that they've got a presentation coming up, the very best of luck to you, and enjoy it. And so you can send me a question if you want to. I do tuition and different. I do short half-hour consultations of, I'm in a panic. Can you give me some help? It would be better. You're going to struggle with a prepared speech in that kind of situation to cover it in half an hour. But I could be the person that gives you the boost if you just want to check about what bad habits you've got and what good habits you've got, and just to feel reassured that you've got this. So anyway, it wasn't about selling my services. I want you to feel that if you've got a presentation coming up, get into your mind, is it prepared? Okay, then I've got to prepare it and rehearse it. Is it unprepared? Then the question is going to be timing. And the rehearsals for the prepared speech will make you feel better, and be having your backup plan for the unprepared in terms of the timing is probably what's going to make you feel better in that situation. Take care. Bye.